So could you just introduce yourself for our record, for my perspective?
Okay, my name is Varaprasad, N. Varaprasad. I have been a trustee of CFAS, I think for about 10 years. Could be more, I don't have the exact date.
Okay. You know, over the 10 years or even by familiarity, there would be special individuals that would probably come to mind. Can you recall for us these people who have been instrumental in the growth of the institution?
Well, I can only start with the founders. And the people I know, Mr. S.N. Dore, Mr. R.V. Subban, and...
Sorry, sir. My question will not be part of your response. So what is it, when I think about some people who contribute, something along those lines would be a good way to start. My question will not be part of your response. You know what I mean?
No.
Okay.
I was responding to your question.
Yes, I know. What I mean is you have to contextualize your response for me. Like, there are some people that I think, who deserve mention. Start that way so that it's more contextualized.
Okay, because your question will not be part of
yes.
the thing.
Yeah. And let's go.
Actually, there are quite a number of people who, over the generations of the history of CFAS, have been instrumental in making key changes and key developments in the life of CFAS. And I have to start with the founders, obviously. Mr. S.N. Dore, Mr. R.V. Subban, and Mr. K.P.A. Menon. These are the three gentlemen who, for some stimulus that they had, that they wanted to make sure that our sons and daughters of the immigrant community of Indians would not lose touch with their traditional culture and fine arts. So in 1949, they set up Indian Fine Arts Society, and that's how it has been growing over time. So there are quite a number of people whom you could consider as instrumental. I can remember Dr. Rajan. I can remember obviously Mr. Sachi.
When you say Dr. Rajan, you're talking about
Omar Rajan's husband.
Yeah. Can you say that again?
Obviously, some of the people that I can mention is Dr. V.S. Rajan, who is Dr. Omar Rajan's husband, late husband. Then Mr. Sachi, Sachinandandan, Mr. I.S. Menon, who was the executive director here for a very long time, and he was quite important because he had a very good connection with Lee Foundation, and Lee Foundation was a great supporter of CFAS. Then of course Mr. Salvadore. Mr. Salvadore was president for 20 over years, and his sister Rati was also a great contributor to the life of CFAS. So in that way there have been quite a number of people over time who have made great contributions to CFAS. And I think in this context I have to say that more than me, my father, Mr. S. Natarajan, and my brother, Mr. N. Subramaniam, have contributed more to CFAS than myself. My father was president of CFAS in the 50s, late 50s. And I remember that he used to bring a lot of North Indian dance troupes and musical troupes to CFAS. And also in those days, in the 50s and 60s, there were a lot of plays, theatre, which we don't do now as much. So we had our own locally produced theatre shows in Victoria Theatre and Cultural Centre.
In Tamil?
In Tamil, yes. So we had both a good mixture of North and South, and that is one of the key features of CFAS. More than any other school in Singapore, it is the mix between North and South. If you look today, Kathak and Bharatanatyam are almost equal in enrollment. So that kind of like shows you how CFAS has developed over the last 74 years.
There must be something that CFAS, any thoughts that it probably held on to throughout. Why don't we talk about that?
I think the ethos is one of quality. From a very informal curriculum.
Could you say that again?
I think the ethos of CFAS has to be in the quality of its programs and the quality of its teaching. We bring in highly qualified teachers and tutors for all the disciplines. And the level of teachers has been increasing as the quality of our own students' performance has been increasing. And many visitors and external examiners who come in comment on this, that we are equal to any fine art school in India. And that's a big compliment for them. And the fact that we have examinations, and many other schools here don't do that. So we have certificate examination after 5 years and diploma examination after 8 years. And we bring in external examiners from India, well-known external examiners, to make sure that the quality is maintained. So we used to have a very informal curriculum. Today the curriculum is structured, is in books, and is constantly being revised. So given the new way of teaching and pedagogy, and with all the developments that have happened in the music and dance scene, the curriculum continues to be refreshed. So if you ask me about ethos, it's in the curriculum, the way of teaching, the pedagogy, and the assessment. And the students come out with a certificate and diploma which is accredited and recognized in India. For example, our Carnatic music diploma is recognized by the University of Madras. Our Hindustani music diploma is recognized by the University of Delhi, and our dance diploma is recognized by Kalakshetra. So these are very significant achievements of CFAS. And they build on previous generations. It's not something that happened just like that. Over time, from the humble beginnings, I would say, it has built up a reputation, and that reputation is founded on the ethos of quality.
Good, sir. Can I push you for one more question? We have time.
Okay.
The changing demography of Singapore.
Yes.
I think that has contributed to that role.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about that.
I think one of the things that happened in the 90s and from the 90s onwards is the influx of middle-class Indians, professional Indians into Singapore. And they were also looking for an outlet for their children, to give them the foundation of our traditions and our art and culture. And this influx of what you call NRI population into Singapore has really helped to increase standards, and it has helped to increase the exposure of CFAS. And it has put CFAS on the national map. But I also have to say that the government's support of art and culture, of the three main cultures in Singapore, is also been instrumental. The fact that NAC provides grants, the fact that Esplanade Theatre engages with CFAS and all the other schools as well, has given a real impetus and momentum to the development of traditional art and culture, fine arts culture in Singapore. And I think they all have been going together, both the government support and the fact that we have a lot of demographic changes which have happened.
And what is the positive impact that the promotion of Indian arts or Indian art forms, performing arts in the case of CFAS, of the younger generation? What has been the positive takeaway, impact, or resonance?
If you ask me, I think the positive impact is that the younger generation build themselves a foundation of our tradition, of our art and cultural traditions. And on top of that, we have been able to interest non-Indians to come and be part of the student body. And this really bodes well, because what we are seeing is a lot of intercultural interest in the fine arts of CFAS. So we have, in the past we've had Chinese learning Bharatanatyam, we've had Chinese learning music and so on. And this is something that is unique to Malaysia and Singapore. You won't find this in many other places. So when you talk about the impact to young people, it is the fact that they are exposed to this, and therefore they understand the depth of Indian culture. Although we are rooted in Singapore, the fact of our multicultural heritage is something that we don't let go of. It continues to build, and I think this is a good thing. So the fact that there might be local students together with non-local students is something that raises standards as well.
Thank you, Dr. So, thank you. Good. Mr. Rao, we are talking about an institution that has survived for 75 years. And it's no mean feat, right? And of course, you have to reinvent yourself as the years go by. So, in this context, can you talk to me about your vision for CIFAS and some of the key strategies that you employ to keep the organization relevant and endeared to its patrons and people? Forget the camera, just me. Okay, so we talked about what is your vision and your strategies. Forget the camera, talk to me and go.
CIFAS was set up in 1949, 19th of May, with the motto which is eternal and relevant even today. It said, Kala Samskriti Lakshanam, which translated into English from Sanskrit means art is the characterization of civilization, and that remains constant even till today. But every institution which has a history needs to reinvent itself to make itself relevant and rejuvenate itself. And that is what the journey of transformation for CIFAS has been over the last 4 years. We have a vision set out for ourselves to impact lives aesthetically, and bring the communities together to promote Indian arts. Our raison d'etre for CIFAS is the preservation of the arts, the promotion of the arts, and the creation of the arts.
How do you do it? What are the strategies?
The way we do it is we have envisioned for ourselves a virtuous circle. A virtuous circle is where one feeds into the other. We had an academy which is long standing, and we have had some performances, but we have created a structure for ourselves today to empower and recreate the academy in a manner that it feeds into yet another vertical, which we call the productions part, where we create original productions and provide opportunities for our own students, our masters, our teachers and gurus to perform and create classical arts. And as you create and perform, you also promote and you also make people appreciate. And when people come to appreciate the arts, they come to, yeah.
So sorry.
No problem. I'll come back at it. Maybe I'll roll this again.
Can you do me one favor?
Yeah.
Take a breather in between your sentences.
Okay. Slow down.
It's a bit difficult for me to, because I'll be taking parts of it, right?
Okay, sure. So shall I do the first?
Forget the camera. Me. And
Yeah.
action.
Looking at the past of CIFAS, it was established on 19th of May 1949 by 5 passionate lovers of music in Singapore. it has grown, and today we are into our 75th year. When they set out with a motto drawn out from Sanskrit, which said Kala Samskriti Lakshanam, which means art characterizes civilization. Art is an embodiment of our own culture, of our identity. And as an institution needs to be relevant for the present and the future, it ought to recreate itself. In our transformation journey that we have been on over the last 4 years.
I have a problem with the way you're speaking now.
Shaking head.
You're not talking to me. You're
Okay.
giving an interview.
Okay.
I want you to be more,
Easy. Okay.
yeah, more candid.
Okay.
இது கேமரா கிட்ட பேசுற மாதிரி தான் இருக்கு. அப்படி வேண்டாம்.
One. Okay.
இன்னும் கொஞ்சம் இதா.
Easier. More. Okay.
Ready and go.
Okay. Every institution needs to question itself in terms of its relevance to the current times. That's exactly what we did about 4 years ago and embarked on a transformation journey of CFAS. This transformation journey has a couple of features. The first is a very integrated and cohesive vision for ourselves, which is to create a virtuous circle of promoting the arts. And this happens when you have academy on one side and a very well empowered productions arm, so that one feeds into the other, where people who get inspired and attracted to the art form come to you to learn, and once they learn, they also train to perform, and the performances again draw in more people towards the arts, and that's exactly what our current vision is for the institution. The second part of it is the methodology that we are following. We have opened up to make it more relevant, include more faculties. For instance, we introduced bhajan or a ghazal, and also introduced shorter courses for people who are already into music but would just like to polish themselves. So all of these new methods and methodologies have drawn more people to us. The academic core of CFAS has undergone a complete review, and we have new pedagogy that has been introduced, which actually reformats the manner and method of our ancient system of Guru Shishya Parampara. It is ancient, it is old, it has a lot of merit, but it needs to be rendered to the modern digital generation in a different way. So we brought in technology into it, we brought digitalization into it, we have a lot of social media, and for instance, in the past,
Can you take the digital part separately?
Okay.
Because I want you to talk about it.
I'll talk about it later. I'll talk about it later.
So you can talk about the strategies, you
Yeah.
talk about the digital. Can you continue from there?
Yeah. When it comes to the current generation, unlike the olden times that one would wait for 7 or 8 years before you do your first performance, our younger people would love to do performances. So we have a new format where through classroom performances, small performances, black box performances, we induct our students into performances pretty early and give them a lot more opportunities.
Okay. Now you touched on another important feature. Being relevant also means to embrace the state of art, facilities and technology. Tell me how you do that. Talk to me about the technology, the digital age, and CFAS.
There are 3 elements to this. One is you need to embrace technology and not to stay away from it, which has several features of information technology, digital technology, transmission, communication, and so on, and we've embraced quite a lot of that in the last 4 years. That is the first pillar of our activity. The second part is the facilities itself. Performance spaces, we created CFAS NX with a beautiful theatre which is world class and cutting edge for about 100 people to sit and have chamber music and arts and dance performances. So that's the second part of it. As we move into the new premises, we are creating world class cutting edge facilities for dance, for music, for performances, and that will be really modern, contemporary, and very comfortable for our youngsters to come and pursue their art.
So will I be right in saying that you have actually as an arena for the arts, because you talked about performance, you talked about audience, you talked about cutting edge technology and world class audienceship or audience facilities that support that audienceship. So looks like you have gone for a revamp of what CIFAS is. It's not only a teaching institute.
It's a performing. It's a complete.
Let's talk about that.
Can I just go back to the three parts because I did two and the third I missed.
Sure.
What was the question for that again?
I asked you.
How do you do this, right?
How do you do this?
Yeah.
Then
So
we talked about the technology. Now we've gone into the technology part. I asked you.
yeah, so I covered the technology part.
You did.
The second part is I covered on the facilities part.
Facilities,
And the third is the methodologies that
okay,
we
if you
follow.
talk about methodologies, then can you also take me through the fact that all these inevitably will sort of grow your scope, right? Yeah, let's talk.
Yeah, okay. So I don't have to cover technology now, right?
That part
You
is
got that part.
Well taken.
You think the facilities has not come through too well, I thought. I'll just do the facilities
You
part.
can talk about it.
The second part is enhancing our facilities and modernizing them. We created CIFAS NX to create a beautiful air-conditioned performing space for chamber music, for art, for dance, and it's been very busy and it's got the best of facilities for performances which we never had before. And as we move into our new campus at Middle Road, you would have world-class classrooms, performance spaces, and even open theatres for people to come, perform, enjoy, and mix, and create a spirit of community and celebration for the arts with modernity thrown inside it. The third part of it is the manner in which we perform and run the institution. The methodologies have undergone serious rethink, and we have a new pedagogy, we have a new format of teaching and delivering both training and performances.
Okay.
Now I'll come to the next part, which is how we do.
Yeah.
An institution thrives through the community and contributes to the community. We have about 1,800 members and students today, and that represents a cross section of the Indian and non-Indian as well in Singapore who come to us. We have enhanced our engagement firstly with the inner core. How can we be more engaged with the families who come to CIFAS? The parents, the students, the siblings, the relatives, the neighbors. So with all the student concerts and so on, you draw in a whole lot of the community into CIFAS for the smaller events. And for the bigger events with our festivals and our marquee events, you get everyone in the society, all the echelons of the society who come and enjoy. For instance, we had the Zakir Hussain show with Triveni, which was houseful, nearly 1,900 people, and the who's who attending and celebrating Indian classical music and art. So at both levels, we are very integrated. The second part of our community engagement is CIFAS. It started with the Indian community in Singapore in 1949. If you look at 2023 and 24, today it truly represents the entire spectrum of the Indian community, the way it has undergone changes. Many years ago, we had Hindustani one or two faculty members and only 2 or 3 teachers. With that, today if you see, almost 45% of our studentship and faculties have moved to the Hindustani side. For instance, Kathak or Tabla has 2 teachers, and it also shows the complexion of the change of the community and the way the community integrates. There is no division between north and south if you look at CIFAS. A large number of our local born Tamil students go and learn tabla, learn Kathak, learn sitar, and the other way around, you have quite a number of people from other parts and other languages and ethnicities who come and learn Bharatanatyam and learn Kuchipudi and so on and so forth. So it's a very integrative platform. And when communities come together, it is also serving a social cause and purpose. It is a major platform for Indians, new Indians, old Indians, residents, non-residents, citizens, non-citizens to amalgamate and come together, because the 2 areas where society comes together without any bar is one, to go a temple, or to arts. And when you come to the arts, everyone is together, their children are performing, they're training together, everyone's celebrating together, and it's a great platform for the families to connect and get to know and create bonds which will last way beyond their studentship. Sorry. I think I need to do this a little. Shall I do that again?
Not the whole thing. It was very good. I don't want to disturb that. Just say when students come together. Can you take that part?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's go.
Yeah.
Start like that. When students.
Yeah. When students and families come to CFAS, it's a time for people to mix, whether it's for the academic classes, training programs, rehearsals, or performances. It is a point where families come together and they get to know each other, and it blends people together and it creates bonds which last way beyond CFAS, and they become personal friends, and that's where integration takes place and cultural appreciation of each other's cultures does take place.
See, when an institution teaches, it's pretty much within the campus. But when it performs, then it invites the larger community to partake of its excellence.
Yep.
Let's talk about that.
Yes. CFAS over the last couple of years has actively engaged in expanding the community network and footprint. We today have 14 ethnic Indian societies, the Gujaratis, the Bengalis, the Marathis, the Keralites, the Telugus, the Parsis, even smaller ones have all come together to CFAS, and we celebrate each other's culture, their folk music, their classical music, their culture, and everyone comes together to learn and appreciate each other, and that has provided greater opportunities for our own students and our faculties to go and perform. Similarly, we've had much greater engagement with institutions such as CINDA, Indian Activity Centers in the heartlands, the People's Association, and many others, including banks, associations of professional bodies, where whenever they have a celebration, we are getting opportunities to go and perform, and that is not only spreading the word about CFAS, but also attracting new people to come to CFAS and support CFAS either for its academy or for its performances or as an institution to give back and to support. There is one dimension of CFAS which I would like to stress in particular. There are some segments of the society and community that are underrepresented.
A bit strict. Your head is too much to one side. Yeah.
Okay. Is it okay?
Yeah. Can you talk about this? No, this position of the head and all that. I wanted to go this. Ready? Tell me. I won't write. Okay, go.
Yeah. There is one aspect of CFAS that I would like to draw attention to. Over the last few years,
Sorry, again, try to straighten a bit.
I'm going like this, is it?
Good.
Okay.
Okay. And
Okay.
go.
Over the last couple of years,
One more time.
yeah, I would like to stress one aspect of CFAS and highlight. Over the last couple of years, we've made a conscious effort to make ourselves impact certain segments of the society that are underrepresented. We've been working with an institution called SMILES, which is single women and aged women, and we are bringing them to the arts. We are working with groups to bring in small children to expose them arts very early, which is 3 to 6 years, and it is called a program Vikasa, where we expose them to all forms of art for 2.5 hours, and the parents wait at the facilities so that everyone gets inducted into the arts. In that sense, we are trying to reach out in the future to the grey hairs and the young, so that we do not leave any segment, and also underprivileged segments of the society.
Okay. I think you have covered quite ably, a lot of aspects.
There's one aspect which I need to cover
Yeah.
on vision and ambition.
The international aspect.
I'm coming to it. There are 2 aspects more I have to cover.
Okay. And கொஞ்சம் casual பேசலாம் sir.
Okay, easy.
Yeah.
It's more like interviews.
I need to see, the thing is, it's good, the points are there, but speak from
Okay, sure.
கொஞ்சம் கேமராக்கு பேசாத படிக்க
Got it.
மாதிரி பேசும்.
Got it.
And
We have expanded our relationships both in Singapore and internationally, working with other art groups and having affiliations with smaller art producers, artists, schools and institutions and societies, as we are more a platform that provides opportunities for smaller ones to come and collaborate and work with us. That's on one dimension. The other dimension, we have expanded our footprint internationally. We have deepened our engagement with Kalakshetra, with Madras Academy, with National Centre for Performing Arts India, as well as Kathak Kendra Delhi, ICCR and such institutions, which augurs well for us for the future. We have a vision to create an ASEAN Centre of Excellence in Singapore and CFAS over the next couple of years, so that we can draw audiences, we can draw talent from the entire region and not limited to CFAS. And that is a project in progress and is something that we aspire.
I have what I need from you, but I'm going to push you just for a couple of questions.
I need to complete one more if I.
Which part of it?
I'm not, but I'd like to cover this somewhere. You can take it in. What is our aspiration as CFAS? Right?
Yeah, okay. Can you give me that as a conclusion?
Okay, fine.
In between, I want to just
Yeah, sure.
topic. You see, any kind of challenge, any kind of interruptions can either wither an organization or strengthen it. Of course, we had COVID. How do you teach? You've got almost 2,000 students. How are they going to come in? How are they going to learn? So that responsibility, or that challenge was squarely on you and your organization. And when you came out of that, looking tested, and you had the gumption to go through this whole episode. Please talk to me about that.
Very good question, actually, Ali. CFAS is an artistic institution. Fundamentally, it's creative. And the people who work there need the freedom and space to be creative within the structure and organization. It's not like managing a corporation or a government institution or a stat board. It is far more challenging because you need to provide the freedom and space for people to experiment, to fault, to try, and provide a certain sense of security and safety for them to do stuff and appreciate what is happening well and support for things that do not go well too. And I think we have inculcated a culture that passion drives the place more than the structure and theory, and give the freedom for people to do. And I've seen amazing work coming out of CFAS, and it's a liberative sense for people to work there, enjoy, see the work and feel very proud about what they've created. And that goes true with the committee too. I'm blessed to have a committee of 20 who are extremely passionate and very different from one another. So they bring a varied set of skills, but one thing that binds all of us is the love of arts. And we come together as a team of volunteers rather than as a management committee. And we're ready to roll up our sleeves and do the work. And that's good inspiration for the team to see that these guys are not here to just tell us what to do, but actually demonstrating and doing and being a part of us. That's a change of culture.
And the COVID challenge, what did it teach you? I mean, personally, as the leader, it must have informed you in certain ways.
Yeah.
Challenges are going to come
Yeah.
from time to time.
Yeah. COVID was an eye-opener of sort for us at two levels. At the operational level, how do we exist and continue? And that we managed to resolve by inducting technology overnight, doing digital classes, and managing the classroom kind of feel on a digital sense with multiple students joining a class on a Zoom and so on and so forth. And it was quite a challenging transition, but also great opportunity for people to learn and adapt, and it showed the resilience of the organization, that we did not have much of a loss. On the other side of it, which is the human dimension, I think music and art was more needed than ever before during the COVID times, because one should never forget that in this busy world, with or without COVID, what is missing is a certain sense of joy, peace, and connecting with oneself. I would call it a sense of mindfulness, where you feel totally connected with yourself, and self-forgetful state of happiness is what you derive when you sit down and practice music, learn music. Nothing else can go on in your mind. I keep appealing to all my friends, and whenever I meet people and when I speak, come to CFAS to learn, not just to become a performing artist, but bringing new meaning to your life, bringing joy to yourself and your family. And that was proven far more than ever before during COVID times, when that piece was being questioned, and we brought, I think we did an impact towards, what we did helped improve the state of the mind of the people of our community.
Very good response, sir. One thing I noticed going around the various classes, I think age somehow, the age barrier is mitigated. I see a lot of older students within the campus.
Very good. I personally believe, being inclined to music, that everybody has a musical chip embedded in oneself, and you just need to touch it, because people will say that I'm not made to sing, I'm not born to sing or learn music, I'm not inclined, I just listen. But once you induce them and propel them to start something takes over, because it just completely opens up. I've had friends who are retired, 65 and 70s, who came and started learning, and then I went back and asked them.
Don't look at this. Okay?
I went back and asked them. I had friends, and I went back and asked them, how is your experience in joining CFAS? And the response I get is, I don't know how much I'm learning, but I'm loving it, I'm enjoying it, because when I'm doing the class, I forget everything. Nothing exists in my mind, and I have a total peace of mind. So it's a form of yoga, it's a form of mindfulness and emptiness of mind that you get when you practice music, and that's what I encourage the entire society and community to embrace. A bit of music in your life makes a lot of difference to your peace and for your own well-being.
Suppose if I came back 5 years later, then have the same conversation with you, I expect something different, and that would have been possible only if you have certain aspirations towards the future. What's yours?
When you're in the business of traditional and classical arts, the challenge is, how do you manage tradition with modernity? Marrying tradition and modernity requires a certain skill to not lose the character of the tradition, yet render it in a manner that is enjoyable to our students, to our faculties, and to our communities. And that's exactly the journey that we have embarked on, and we will be much more contemporary, much more modern facilities, rendering ancient old traditional Indian classical music and art with much more collaboration with other forms without losing the character. That is the real challenge. And looking at the future, personally our ambition is, we must at least draw 1% of Indian origin people into CFAS to learn and practice Indian classical music, which is 5,000 people roughly, and 10% of that 5,000 would be non-Indian to start with, because we already have regional from different ethnicities of the region, and international audiences of Singapore and members here who come and learn from us. So we want to improve the diversity of our institution as we go forward.
maybe a vote of thanks for your supporters all these years. People you've associated with have helped you generously. I mean, can we end with that? Okay. Could not have done it alone.
Of course not.
Okay. Ready?
I'm just formulating my thoughts. Just give me 1 minute.
Sure. Take your time.
Yeah.
Okay. Done. Yeah. So, Mr. Rao, I mean, I would audaciously suggest that you could not have done this alone without the patronage and support of various organizations who need not be necessarily Indian. So, could you talk to me about that, please?
Me and my colleagues have inherited an institution with a great history, which could not have been created without the sweat, tears and help of so many generations of leaders of the arts at CIFAS. There were committee members, volunteers, parents, students, families, art lovers who have supported it, and that community is no less than 100,000 people perhaps, and my grateful thanks to each and every one of them for having brought CIFAS to its current state. As we manage its current and its present and also create a future for ourselves, my most grateful thanks are due to the National Arts Council, without which we could not have come to this stage in our journey and also go to the next stage. The government has been extremely supportive, MCCY, the colleagues in the institutions, the partner organizations, the performing spaces like the Esplanade, and many collaborators who have worked with us over the years, and we look forward to deepening those engagements and taking it into the future. Thank you very much.
Beautiful. Thank you.
In rejuvenating an old institution, what has made a significant difference is the induction of a young team in CIFAS. We have about 40 staff, 28 are teaching and the rest are non-teaching supporting staff, but all love the arts. And we have a very young team today managing, and they connect with the members, they connect with the students, and they connect with technology in the future better than anybody else, and that is what is making a big difference. And empowering them and supporting them is the key to our managing our future.